cover everything, but with just a simple computer like this, all we're getting is the host controller information, and that tells us something. It tells us all the events that have been generated up to the host, and if someone connects to the Bluetooth radio or to an L2 cap ports and starts issuing commands, we get that, but we don't get everything. And in an ideal world, this is what everyone would get. We get the full packet dumps. Application logging layer is great. We get exactly what commands get issued. Here, someone was generating a blue bug attack. Right. And then we're logging all of the spec tools. Spec tools is now built into Kismet, and we're using it to log all the spectrum analysis that's going on the 2.4 gigahertz and frequency. And we can correlate to that to actual events against the mobile devices. There's some unique legal constraints. Typically with honeypots, you have the issues of you can use the trespasser consent to say that someone has access to your device and therefore you can record. But with mobile devices and trying to record all wireless, everything on 2.4, we can't say that everyone stepping on 2.4 is trespass against us. And so you have to be able to carve out the specific traffic that's intended for you. The Bluetooth packet capture without specialized equipment is kind of a shortcoming. The fact that the entire device is subject to chaff. You could send lots and lots of packets and obscure your actual attacks, and someone analyzing would never have the ability to decode what's actually the attack from within there. But this is a similar problem that wired honey nets have, and we try to solve it like this. Again, joke, not funny. Right. Mobile devices are dynamic. Attacks are dynamic, relying on multiple protocols. We use Honeyclients to discover these attacks. I will gladly take any questions you got about the device. Will.
Where were you actually setting up these honeyMs, and could you actually repeat the question for the guys on the screen?
Sure. So we really haven't had a good deployment plan yet. Last year we brought it out to DEF CON and set it up, but we're just kind of limited with what we could actually capture because we didn't want to violate any of the actual laws. So we were trying to carve out the actual traffic intended for the device. And we got some stuff, and then that was probably the one big place we brought it. But we have intentions of bringing it lots of other places and starting to look for novel attacks.
But just at DEF CON, when you were testing this in your labs, you just had it set up like a military academy, or?
No. We brought it out to DEF CON with a Shmoocon sticker on it. Sure, it's I think an A1000 Artigo PC. I'm sorry, the question was, what's the actual hardware on here again? And it's just an Artigo A1000, I believe, PC. And off of it, we just have a standard Garmin GPS dongle that we're registering all the GPS traffic on. D-Link, DBT 120 Bluetooth dongles, and Air PCAP transmit cards. And additionally, we hung a 3G radio off of it so we could access it remotely and pull in all the data so we could hide it in different locations.
What's the approximate cost?
The most expensive thing are the transmit cards. I want to say they're about $300 per card. And then, but the Bluetooth radio is about $25, and the Artigo PC is a couple $100, less than $1,000. And you can find cheaper cards probably, but you can probably do it for about $500. I guess the question was, what's the cost?
What are those common attacks you saw when you were at DEF CON?
So we saw a lot of false positives. The devices just kept coming up, especially on the Bluetooth radio. We kept seeing people interrogate our Bluetooth devices for what they are and read their service records, and then after that, a couple connected to. We had some suspect L2 cap channels, and they just started fuzzing those L2 cap channels with different information. We saw on Wi-Fi we didn't see a lot because we were real cautious to make sure we weren't crossing any boundaries that we shouldn't. So we just saw what went towards that device, which wasn't a whole heck of a lot.
Could you just for the guys watching the streams, could you just quickly go over the chipsets and parts you're using?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Could you go over just a quick overview of the parts you're using?
Sure. The parts again are an Artigo PC computer. It's a small form factor computer. It runs 1 gig of RAM, I think a 1 gigahertz or 2 gigahertz processor inside. Runs a full Linux Ubuntu distribution on it. And then a Garmin GPS dongle to capture GPS data. And then D-Link DBT120 Bluetooth dongles. And Air PCAP transmit Wi-Fi cards. And then I additionally had a 3G USB card hanging off the back of it too as well.
Have you seen anything interesting on the GPS?
Yeah, if you plug it in indoors and try to get a signal, it doesn't work. The question was, have you seen anything interesting on the GPS?
Can this all be combined into one board?
Sure, you could definitely combine this all into one board, and ultimately that's where we'd like to go and have a nice small form factor device that we can hide in different locations. The question was, could you all combine this all into one board?
You said you used Python to glue a lot of pieces together. Could you talk about some of the pieces you put together, or what it was?
Sure. So some of the things are that, go back to that slide. The question was, you used Python to glue everything together. Could you describe just a little bit of how you did that? So, for example, with the logging, Kismet supports, it's a client-server architecture. And so when we fired up Kismet, we were able to use Python to just write some scripts to, as clients, connect to Kismet and pull out all the necessary data that we wanted, and only dump that data. So it pulled data like on all the Wi-Fi management frames and wireless traffic intended for our device, as well as the entire spectrum activity on the 2.4 gigahertz with spec tools. As well as it was interfacing with things like GPSD to dump the GPS location inside of a building, and dumping all our TSP dump and such. Traffic generation is awesome with Scapy, which is where we really like doing it, because you could write code to do just about whatever you wanted it to do, and emulate or make users fairly easy doing different activity by writing Scapy code, as well as you could force the devices to do things on both Wi-Fi and Bluetooth with Scapy pretty well.
Any GSM?
Not yet, but we want to go in that direction. Obviously, GSM presents a whole new factor, and there's a lot of exciting work down that road, but we didn't do that. The question was, were there any GSM?